Choral Insight, stories of choirs. Testimonies of choir directors. Good choir music to enjoy. Choral Insight with Dominic Ansari. Choral Insight is powered by Mido Productions.
Mido Productions, sound, audio, and video.
Hi. Welcome to Choral Insight with Dominic Ansari. This is your show that you get to hear about what choir directors are doing around the country. But today we extend the boundaries and we speak to somebody who is not a Ghanaian, but is an astute choir director. You get to know what I'm talking about. Just hold on and watch this clip. My guest is that conductor that you saw, Michael Dingaan. Michael is a South African, and I would want to say that he's also a friend to Ghanaians. A genius conductor who has been trained in South Africa, Northwest University. He actually specialized in vocal training. Michael, you're welcome to my show.
Thank you so much, Maestro.
We're good to have you here. And what brings you to Ghana?
The power of music. That's what brings me to Ghana.
Will I be right if I say that you love Ghana?
This is home. Ghana, our motherland.
That's right.
Yes.
So, Michael, what keeps you busy on daily basis?
I realize that I've got an acumen that is broader than just waving hands in front of music or teaching voice. I've got an acumen for business, you know, and I've got total love for business, especially at a strategic level, how to manage enterprises and all that.
Okay.
So on a day-to-day basis, I've had to function, first of all, as a broadcaster on Classic FM 102.7. This I did for 10 years. I looked into my other interests in the business of agriculture.
I see.
Yes.
Which part of agriculture?
The poultry and merino sheep.
I see.
And this is one of my interests.
I am tempted to ask you this question. What really is conducting?
In the music context, a conductor is a person who's able to take the forces of the music from the score and activate such forces in the musicians in front of him, so that when these forces that are on the score speak with the forces that are inside a human being, when produced, they become a musical sound that is coordinated, that is refined, and that when received by members of the audience, they're getting organized sound. It's also the ability to interpret the architecture of the piece. When you look at the page, things must jump out from the page that make a powerful idea about what the composer is trying to convey. And the job of the conductor, therefore, is to convey not his message, but the message of the composer. And therefore, for one to be able to do that, one must study the music. But there are other qualities, the tone color, which can be derived from the words. What do the words of this music say to me? Sometimes you have to take the words separately from the music and then say, okay, when reading these words, what do these words say to me?
What do they carry?
Yes. What do they carry? What do they convey? And then plug them to the score, to the actual notes. So I believe in this concept. There's the music of the words and there's the music of music. And to get the hyper music, you combine the two musics.
The music of the words and
the music of music.
the music.
Yes.
Combine the two to get
hyper music.
Wow.
Yes.
My first time of having any association with you was when you came to Ghana in 2016. And
Yes, sir.
I think on the invitation of Harmonious Chorale. And
Yes.
there was a classical evening with Michael Dingaan.
Yes.
Now, be very truthful to me. That was your first time of handling a Ghanaian choir. How did the choir perform? How did you find that concert, in your own opinion?
It was a beautiful beginning. It was a fantastic start. I think it was a God-ordained moment, because we didn't struggle to get one another. There was no wall between ourselves.
Right.
And I recall the first rehearsal. In a short space of time, we could establish where it is we wanted to go, how we wanted to sound the music. And we didn't want to just put up a show for the purpose of just having a show. We wanted to say there is something profound about this music that we are instructed by the composer to carry. And some of the music were my suggestions, but most of it were proposed by Maestro James Varikama.
Right.
And he introduced me to songs that I had not known. There was very little time. I had to study the scores there and there. And we made music. It was incredible. There are songs that really moved my heart. And I think that is what cemented the relationship.
Well, I was there, and I bring to you Holy Art Thou, a piece by Handel. Let's look at the approach that Michael gives to Handel. World Choir Games. My question to you is, how did you become an official of the World Choir Games team?
I was invited by the the management of the World Choir Games, the hosting agents in South Africa. And they said, look, from the onset when we were discussing the hosting of World Choir Games, your name kept cropping up to say, we've
Right.
got to have that man in our team.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, the South African team was composed of about a maximum of 10 people. And then there were management, other elements to it. But I was part of the team that was responsible for the creative, for the content, entertainment value, but also looking at the rules. That is why we introduced one category quite late, which was also won by Harmonious Chorale.
Now, Michael, tell me, what's the role that you play in South African schools choral estate Ford?
My role in the school's choral estate Ford, first of all, it's important to note that this is a flagship program by the Minister of Basic Education in South Africa, Minister Angie Motshekga. And it is an initiative that was put together in 2000, and the first competition was held in 2001. And this was to bring together all schools to sing and compete against one another within one umbrella body, because previously there were too many competitions coordinated by different teacher associations.
And when the minister came up with that concept, what's the objective behind? What are you trying to achieve in doing so with students?
First objective is to celebrate the power of culture, but also to understand that music and sports are among the greatest qualities that elevate the child's performance in class. Most teachers think that a child is just a pile of mathematical solutions and, laboratory thinking in as far as science is concerned. But that child needs to regain the power of their own mind by recreating, and they recreate through music, through drama, through arts, through sports.
So you go to schools and you teach, or you have a team that ensures that this is rolled out?
There are teachers, of course, at schools who teach. Most of them are teaching academic subjects, but we have a school's choir program where we prescribe the syllabus of songs to be sung throughout the country. We say primary schools, these are the songs. The African piece is this, the Western classical piece is this. Then there's a solo
For
category
all schools?
for all public schools.
Jesus.
And there's 27,000 of them.
Wow.
So part of my duty, I serve in this committee composed of no more than 8 persons. And our job is to craft content to inform the future of choral music in South Africa. Because when children sing at an early age, they sing in high school, chances are that they'll sing in after school life. And that's how you plant the seeds. So ours is to really work and till the soil. And of course, with the wonderful help and contribution of the teachers who teach choir singing without having been employed for that specific task.
We live in a country where from primary school through to secondary school, music has been scraped as a subject. It is only in selected schools that you can say that you can offer for music. Taking music to the WASI level is something that is not popular at all in Ghana. Yet, music is a full course in our universities. Talk about Legon, talk about Winneba, talk about Cape Coast, talk about Methodist University. And I wonder how we expect to get quality intakes when we are not preparing the children. We just heard what's happening in South Africa. And I believe that stakeholders are watching, and we would get our story better. Let's turn our focus to Michael's relationship with the Harmonious Chorale. I know that when Harmonious Chorale came up with their 10th anniversary concert, Michael flew in. And then again, during the mixed oratorio, he was also here. And being behind the console and appreciating the voice production from the stage at the International Conference Center, I would want us to enjoy one of Michael's swing dance. Don't go anywhere. This can only be shared on Choral Insight. Just stay glued to your set. As you were conducting, you are a South African, and now Ghanaians are doing their thing, and they bring you all the way to share the stage. What were you thinking that you wanted to leave as a legacy?
Mine is to live to the best of my gifts in the moment I have to share. It is my hope that while one steps along the composers with fantastic musicians, that we are able to knock on heaven's door and our Lord in heaven will hear us.
For James Amma and yourself, I have a question. Who discovered the other first?
A tricky one. All I know is that there is power in the social network. We had not met anywhere physically. But for some reason, when we connected on Facebook, there was no reason to doubt that this is legit, that he is legit, that I'm legit. And we just caught to it just like that. And it's incredible. It's a brotherhood that shall not
end.
end.
For the first time, they met on Facebook. Correct?
Correct. 100%.
Praise the Lord. Lots of thanks. Jehovah's praise forever shall endure.
Now, let me see how you react to this. We went to your church, and I found that to be a very small church. And probably even there was no organist. On that day, it was the organist from Harmonious Chorale that played.
Yes.
Now, what went through my mind was you actually belong to the big churches where the pairs will be big and your conducting skills will be rewarding and people will hail you. And here you are in a congregation that may not number 300 or 400. You got me thinking.
It is in that very church that I discovered my gifts of singing. It is in that very church that I was given an opportunity to conduct a rehearsal. It is in that church that I won the first competition. So that church is a church where my grandparents raised me. And it's the same church where I found some of the finest conductors who mentored me. Lutumo Magangani, who serves in the World Choir Games Committee. Fuzima Bukiana, who passed on. He was my high school teacher, but also a conductor in the church choir. There's Temba Matlopa. So for me, there's a belonging. I think as we rise up, it brings so much warmth to ourselves first, to go back to where we come from.
Absolutely.
But it also brings much hope to the next generation when they see us present and visible. So it is easy for me to go to a high-fly type of church where the who's who belongs. But then you may not even end up with worship because you are just busy with lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And you are busy servicing your ego. And you even forget to pray while at church because actually you've come there for networks.
Before we go, what advice do you have for Ghanaian musicians, Ghanaian conductors, fellow directors who will be watching you?
One of the key things is to admire one another's gift, respect one another's calling, stay out of the habit of being unhappy with other people's progress. This disrupts your gift. I say there is a hymn of heaven and it will heal you. And there's a discord of the devil. It will lead you to death. You choose your path. If you want to really make it fun, in music or in anything in life, learn to celebrate other people. God has put us here and we are therefore an expression of himself. For us to be bitter that others are doing fine is a sign that we are unhappy with God expressing himself through others. So if Ghana music is to grow, and indeed it's a powerful space, more love, more celebration towards one another, and really embrace the diversity of our gifts.
When I leave Michael, as you have already observed, he's an orator, and he would talk and talk and talk until time is actually not for us again. But this is where I would want to leave you. This has been Choral Insight with Dominic and Sansari. We get to always review the works of maestros like Michael. And today he has given us such insight about who he is, what he has been doing. And I want to believe that his doors are open to any and everybody who would want to invite him. Until the next time that we come your way, stay good, stay pure, and enjoy the music that you love all the time. Bye.
Choral Insight, stories of choirs. Testimonies of choir directors. Good choir music to enjoy. Choral Insight with Dominic Ansah-Sarry. Choral Insight is powered by Mido Productions.
Mido Productions. Sound, audio, and video.